From Bubba Watson's hookshot from the trees to Tiger Woods' shocking comeback, these are the 10 greatest Masters moments. But hey, if you want to help build this channel so we can create amazing golf content, hit that subscribe button and like this video. Number 10. Phil Mickelson's first major win. For a long time, people called Phil Mickelson the best player never to win a major. Even though he was an amazing golfer, he finished second or third an incredible 9 times. Winning a major championship always seemed just out of reach, but on April 11, 2004, at Augusta National Golf Club, everything changed. Coming to the 18th hole, Mickelson was tied with Ernie Els. He needed to sink an 18-foot birdie putt to win. The pressure was huge. When the ball rolled into the hole, Mickelson jumped into the air with excitement. Even though his jump was not very high, it became one of the most famous celebrations in Masters history. What made this moment even better was how Mickelson won. He played bold and fearless golf, making birdies on 5 of the last 7 holes. Mickelson had been a professional golfer since 1992 and had already been a star at Arizona State University before that. When the tournament ended, Mickelson ended with a score of 9 under par 279. He won $1.17 million and earned the famous green jacket that every Masters champion receives. Number 9. Louis Oosthuizens' Albatross. Sometimes in golf, the most unforgettable moments are not about who wins, but about the amazing things that happen along the way. Louis Oosthuizens' Albatross at the second hole during the final round of the 2012 Masters is a perfect example. An albatross, which means scoring 3 under par on a single hole, is even rarer than a hole-in-one. Oosthuizens' Albatross was truly something special. From 253 yards away on the par 5 hole, called Pink Dogwood, Oosthuizen hit a brilliant 4-iron shot. The ball landed softly between 2 bunkers at the front of the green and then started a slow, magical roll across the green. It curved toward the back right pin and, almost like magic, dropped straight into the cup. Oosthuizen was so surprised that he casually handed the ball to a fan, as if he could not believe what had just happened. This shot was only the 4th albatross in Masters history, the first ever on the second hole, and the first one ever caught on live TV. Fans were amazed and voted it Shot of the Month for April, with more than 95% of the public vote. Even though Oosthuizen would eventually lose in an exciting playoff against Bubba Watson, his incredible shot is still remembered as one of the greatest moments in Masters history. Number 8. Bubba Watson's hook shot from the trees, 2012. The echoes of Louis Oosthuizen's double eagle still filled the air at Augusta, but the tournament had even more magic in store. Bubba Watson, golf's free spirit, found his ball deep in the woods on the second playoff hole. It was buried in pine needles, and the green was hidden behind a wall of trees. For most players, that would have been the end of the story, but Bubba plays differently. Where others saw a dead end, he saw a path. With a wedge in his hand, he imagined a shot that bent nearly 40 yards through a narrow gap in the trees. He swung, and the ball soared onto the green, stopping just a few feet from the hole. The crowd gasped. Bubba steadied himself, sank his par putt, and when the final ball fell, he collapsed into his caddy's arms, overwhelmed by what he'd just done. In that single shot, Bubba Watson reminded everyone what makes golf so special. It's not always perfect swings or careful plans. Sometimes it is heart, sometimes it's faith, and sometimes it's the courage to dream up something impossible and make it real. Number 7. Tiger's chip-in at the 16th, 2005. If you asked any golf fan, even someone who barely watches, to name a famous Masters moment, most would shout out Tiger Woods' unbelievable chip-in at the 16th hole in 2005. Tiger was in a fierce battle with Chris DeMarco, and things looked tough when he missed the green on the par 3 16th hole. He was left with a nearly impossible chip shot from the thick rough, but Tiger, being the genius he is, did not aim straight at the hole. Instead, he hit the ball way uphill, trusting the slopes of Augusta National to bring the ball back toward the cup. Then came the moment no one will ever forget. The ball slowly rolled down the hill, crept toward the hole, and just when it looked like it might stop short, it hung right on the edge. For a second, the world saw the Nike logo spinning in place. Then, with one last tiny roll, the ball finally dropped in. The crowd exploded with a roar so loud it shook the course. That incredible shot helped Tiger to go on to win his 4th Masters title. Even now, years later, it's still remembered as one of the greatest moments, not just in Masters history, but in all of sports. Number 6. Greg Norman's collapse, 1996. Not every great Masters moment is about winning, some are about heartbreaking losses, and one of the biggest was Greg Norman's collapse in 1996. Norman, a popular golfer from Australia, went into the final round on Sunday with a 6-shot lead. It looked like he was finally going to win the green jacket he'd been chasing for years. Norman struggled badly, making mistake after mistake. He ended up shooting a 78, while Nick Faldo played an incredible round of 67 and came back to win by 5 shots. That was an 11-shot swing in just one day. The TV cameras, they caught every tough moment, from Norman hitting balls into the water to missing important putts, to the sad but respectful way he congratulated Faldo at the end. Even though it was heartbreaking, Norman showed a lot of class by staying kind and respectful even after such a painful loss. Number 5. Adam Scott becomes first Australian winner, 2013. For decades, Augusta National felt like a place where Australian golfers just couldn't win. In 1996, Greg Norman lost a huge 6-shot lead on Masters Sunday. It was not just a bad memory, it felt like the whole country's heart had been broken. But in 2013, Adam Scott came to Augusta ready to change the story. Using his long putter, a club many people thought was boring and unimportant, he made history. On a rainy Sunday, Scott became the first Australian to win the Masters. He not only erased the sadness from his own mistake at the British Open less than a year before, but also lifted the heavy weight that had been sitting on Australia's shoulders for so long. Scott finished his round with a strong 3-under par 69, tying Angel Correa at 9-under. On the 18th hole, he sank an incredible 25-foot birdie putt. He threw his arms into the air as his shout of "Come on, Aussie" echoed through the rainy sky. Cabrera, staying cool under pressure, made a birdie too, which meant they had to go to a playoff. The battle got even tougher. After both made pars on the first playoff hole, Scott faced a tricky 12-foot putt. Calm and focused, he rolled it perfectly into the center of the cup. In that moment, Adam Scott made history, and Australia's long wait was finally over. Number 4. Tiger Woods' historic victory, 1997. When Tiger Woods arrived at Augusta in 1997 for his first Masters as a professional, very few people could have guessed at how much history he was about to make. At only 21 years old, Tiger was already a rising star after winning 3 straight US amateur titles and earning 3 PGA Tour wins in just a few months as a pro. Still, nothing could have prepared the world for what was about to happen. After a rough start, shooting a score of 40 on his first 9 holes, Tiger found his rhythm and launched into one of the most amazing performances golf has ever seen. Over the next 63 holes, he played an incredible 22 under par, breaking records at every turn. He became the youngest Masters champion ever, set the lowest 72-hole score at the time, and won the tournament by an unbelievable 12 shots. However, Tiger's victory meant much more than just great scores. He became the first person of color to win at Augusta National, a place that only recently allowed its first black member. After that day in 1997, golf and the Masters would never be the same again. Number 3. Jordan Spieth's record-breaking performance. At just 21 years old, Spieth played Augusta National with the calmness of an experienced pro and the fearless energy of a young star. From the very first round, he took the lead and never gave it up. He became only the 5th player in Masters history to lead from start to finish. Along the way, he broke several records, like making the most birdies in a week with 28, having the lowest halfway score at 14 under par, and the best score after 3 rounds at 16 under. By Sunday, Spieth was simply unstoppable. He kept building his lead, never giving other players a real chance to catch him. On the 15th hole, his 28th birdie even pushed him to 19 under par, beating Tiger Woods' famous 1997 record. Even though a bogey on the last hole brought him back to 18 under, he still tied Woods' winning total. Number 2. Tiger Woods' comeback victory, 2019. If Tiger Woods' 1997 Masters win was about youthful dominance and breaking barriers, then his 2019 victory was about making something big out of nowhere. In the 11 years leading up to that moment, Woods had experienced one of the most public falls from grace in sports history. He battled a messy divorce, multiple back surgeries, including a spinal fusion, a DUI arrest, and countless failed comebacks. By 2017, Tiger had fallen to 1,199th in the world rankings, and many experts wondered if he'd ever walk properly again, let alone compete for majors. In 2019 at Augusta, Tiger made an amazing comeback, just like in a storybook. Instead of relying on pure power like he did when he was younger, he used smart thinking, careful planning, and all the experience he'd gained over the years. While the younger players made mistakes on the final day, Tiger stayed calm and focused. In the end, he made a short putt on the 18th hole to win his 5th green jacket and his 15th major championship. Number 1. Jack Nicklaus 1986 victory. In April 1986, Jack Nicklaus came to the Masters in a tough spot. At 46, he hadn't won a major tournament in 6 years, and many people thought his best days were behind him. One well-known golf writer even said he was finished and should retire with dignity. But what happened next turned into one of the greatest stories in sports history. Nicklaus, with his son Jackie as his caddy, was 4 shots behind when he started the back 9 on Sunday. But instead of giving up, he pulled off some amazing shots. He made birdies on the 10th and 11th holes, and then an eagle on the 15th, bringing him right back into the game. When his tee shot on the par 3 16th nearly went in, he raised his putter in his famous pose even before the ball stopped rolling. Nicklaus finished with a 30 on the back 9 and a final round score of 65. This gave him his 6th Masters win, making him the oldest champion ever at that time. The crowd at Augusta was louder than ever, and the energy was unforgettable. Let us know what you think was the greatest Masters moment, and if you enjoyed this video, click to subscribe.